10 games of 2020. What can we learn from these games that really blew up in 2020, that were the most streamed games? We're talking about the League of Legends, the Valorants, the Dota 2s, all of these top games. Are they going to carry over into 2021? Are they viable to cover as a content creator, both as a YouTuber and a streamer? All of those answers in this episode. Stick around to the end because we're going to analyze each and every one. Fortnite streamers, is your game viable? I got bad news for you, sneak preview. No, but we'll explain why with facts. Also, at the end of the episode, we're covering your top comment that you guys left for us on social media, and we'll answer your comment live right here on the episode. Stick around to the end because if you choose better games to stream and to make content about, you can grow faster in 2021. All those insights and more coming right up. Let's pay the bills. This podcast is sponsored by Restream. Why live stream to one platform when you can simultaneously live stream to every platform to discover new audiences faster using Restream.io? And look at these top 10 games on the stream here, guys. God, we always show people freaking numbers and facts. How come we're so based in facts? Ross, look at this list. Tell the audience what they're looking at right now. What the hell does this even mean?
Top 10 games of the year. This is from last year, the top streaming games. You can see it's kind of hard to see right now, like Twitch, YouTube gaming, Facebook gaming, which one was popular where. So this is just kind of like a collective view of all of them. Starting with number 1, no surprise here, boys, League of Legends.
It's not really a surprise, but Perrin, as a streaming game, it's really popular, but it's not so popular in terms of people searching for it. Let's talk about that. Break that down for us.
Yeah, so we're actually going to compare this on Google Trends, if I can get out of full screen mode. Maybe not. So here we go. If we look at Google Trends, League of Legends search interest from YouTube. Let me zoom in on this for you guys a little bit here so you can see it. This is for YouTube worldwide in the past 12 months. We want to look at a relevant time period. And this little blue line here at the bottom is League of Legends. There's legitimately comparative to Fortnite and PUBG Mobile, there's no search interest. If we're to remove those two options, you'll see a little bit. It hasn't grown in a full year. It's been the same search interest the entire year. So I would say, according to the chart, for it being number 1, it's number 1 because of its esports popularity and its esports viewership. And it has okay, consistent live stream viewership. But search interest, it is nothing. There were tons of better options out there. And you all know how we talk about one of the best creative strategies is utilizing YouTube for search interest growth to send traffic to your live stream, to your Twitch or whatever. If there's no search interest on YouTube for that, you can't do a strategy here. So League of Legends, of course, has been around for a while. Really, Google Trends is telling us that this is not really a viable option for that strategy in particular, if you're looking to garner some search interest off of the title. And for that reason, in 2021, I don't think it's a game that you should be trying to cover, especially as a new or medium-sized creator.
Got it. So out of our list so far, the number 1 most streamed game across Facebook gaming, across Twitch, and across YouTube gaming was League of Legends. So to recap that, there's almost no new search interest. So the reason why we're always looking at Google Trends and search interest is if there isn't new eyeballs coming in every single day, they aren't going to be looking to search for new creators like you to find that new streamer, to find that new creator that they can latch onto for that game. And so for that reason, League of Legends is maybe one of the most untouchable games for a content creator unless you are somehow latching onto the esports scene. We used to do channels and plays and what have you, do top 10 League of Legends plays for esports, montage videos. We did League of Legends esports commentary like 8 years ago. That kind of content is still relevant today. But regular creator League of Legends content, just streaming the game and playing it normally, obviously not viable because people are not searching for new creators. So let's cross that off the list as a game for most creators. Let's go to game number 2. Ross, what will our audience win?
Real quick on that, what happens when Wild Rift comes out in March in the North American market?
Nothing.
Okay.
I'd like to know Perrin's opinion on that, but I don't think Wild Rift is going to change anything at all. That's the mobile game for League of Legends. But Perrin, what are your thoughts on Wild Rift? Will that drastically change the dynamics of League of Legends?
No, that won't touch League of Legends. So it'll fall into a total different category since it's a mobile game. You're looking at it falling into line more with like PUBG Mobile. Obviously, Mobile Legends is its main competitor on the mobile side. It's going to be looked at more in viewership on Facebook Gaming. and YouTube gaming. It won't do anything on Twitch at all, and it will not even scratch the surface of the actual PC version of League of Legends.
League of Legends just got dunked on. What's our number 2 game?
Fortnite. Perrin, I'm just going right to you on this one.
Okay. So we probably want to do a whole episode about Fortnite, but let's at least look at the search. If we're looking at this chart, you know, this title has most of its viewership on Twitch, a really decent chunk of viewership on YouTube, pretty much nothing going on Facebook gaming. And I think this little blue part is what is or was Mixer.
That was Mixer, rest in peace. So
Rip
it looks
Mixer.
like Twitch viewership is almost everything for Fortnite and League of Legends. And so for our Facebook gaming creators out there that are looking this chart, what you're looking for is that dark blue bar next to these games to know how viable it is on Facebook gaming. But how are we looking on YouTube in terms of Fortnite search interest? I assume it's still pretty darn good.
Yeah, so that's where Fortnite shines. Is the search interest is through the roof, and this chart, you know, it's bigger even than PUBG Mobile, which we in some past episodes had looked at some of the growth numbers for PUBG Mobile's viewership, and it is growing quite considerably. You can actually see a little bit of the growth down here, but it's so the scale has been pushed down on that trend because Fortnite here is so large in its search interest. So despite the live viewership with our chart over here, like not looking as big as Twitch, the search interest and the non-live viewership of Fortnite is massive. So if you're able to somehow get through the weeds of competition, and this title is extremely saturated, you can get search interest on YouTube. For Fortnite, that is how you have to build your live stream presence. There's no way you're going to be able to stream with how saturated it is and ever get noticed ever. You're literally going to be in a sea of hundreds of thousands of streamers who have 0 concurrent viewers. You'll never get noticed. So you have to use a YouTube strategy, and there are so many YouTubers doing this too. I'm not really entirely sure how you can stand out there. That bears a whole separate discussion, which we might do a whole episode on.
I would like to talk about Fortnite and standing out. So on the streaming side, Fortnite is, and if you have time to pull up Twitch tracker just to show the number of channels streaming games versus the number of viewers, obviously we want to look at channels. Fortnite, to my knowledge, is the #1 most streamed game of 2020. Yet, it's not the most viewed game across the board, as you can see here. So we're always talking about supply and demand. And there is a high demand for Fortnite, but the interesting thing about Fortnite is that there is an even higher supply of creators. So in markets, that means that there's less opportunity for you guys to grow by covering Fortnite because it has the most competition in terms of creators that are making content about it. Let's take a look at Fortnite right now. High demand with even higher supply of creators here, and the average channels that are streaming this game on Twitch in particular over 7 days is 9,800, and the peak channels was 132,000 versus the live viewers. So as you can see, this is just a highly saturated game. The ratio of viewers per channel is lower than a lot of other games. So Fortnite, from a streaming standpoint, may be one of the worst games to stream. However, there's always a chance to break through on YouTube. And so many creator clients come to me for my coaching services asking me how they can break through with Fortnite on YouTube. And it all boils down to going down to a niche within a niche within a niche. So doing guide videos and tip videos on Fortnite on how to get good, that's not really going to help you capture this search interest that you're seeing on the screen here, this red line that you're seeing on the screen. What you have to do is do an extremely specific video. Like, there's an upcoming event for Fortnite, and if you want to win at duos, here's a strategy for that specific event, for this specific configuration, and here's the video that breaks that down for you. Or here are some secret settings in Fortnite that can increase your FPS that you may not be aware of for PCs specifically within video graphics cards. And so I'm like bringing up these insanely specific examples because of how saturated Fortnite is. You got to go multiple layers deep with your Fortnite content to break through with this game, or you're not going to be able to get through. You can't do mainstream everyday content, and you cannot copy the big creators with Fortnite because it's way too saturated. Do you have anything you want to add to that one, Ross? Because otherwise, we got to go to game number 3.
I want to go to game number 3 actually right now, because this is really interesting looking at this chart. The game number 3, by the way, with 1.38 billion hours watched, is PUBG Mobile. But what I'm not seeing on PUBG Mobile is any Twitch statistics here. It looks like this is primarily Facebook gaming. And by this chart, it would almost appear that all anybody ever watches on Facebook gaming is PUBG Mobile.
Yeah, I would say so. So this is an anomaly. So we have been talking a lot about how mobile games are the future of content creation. And if you draw an arrow right there to that PUBG Mobile, as you can see, that game broke through in the top charts above Grand Theft Auto, above Minecraft, CSGO, Valorant, Dota 2, these mega streaming titles with virtually no viewership at all from Twitch. How is that possible? Well, it's the power of Facebook gaming, actually, and it's the power of mobile gaming. And one of the trends that we've been talking about in the future is how mobile games will become more and more a part of these top charts, not only for YouTube, which, by the way, half of the top games on YouTube are mobile games right now. For streaming, we're now seeing 2 mobile games breaking into the top 10, and pretty soon by the end of this next year, we may see even more breaking into the top 10. So the trend of mobile games taking over all of gaming. PC and console are on the way out. Mobile gaming is on the way in. So do you think games like PUBG Mobile, Perrin, can break through and become number 2, number 1 games, and in what timeline? I'd like a little bit of a prediction here from you.
Yeah, I do think PUBG Mobile will be breaking through, and I think it could be number 1. But one of its issues is it's not growing on Twitch. And if we look, the search interest is growing. I'm actually going to remove Fortnite in here so we can actually look at the scale a little bit better of it. So now the red line is PUBG Mobile. Search interest on YouTube, it's growing, and we have a little bit of an incline in the past 12 months. I expect to see this continue. I don't think it'll be number 1 in the next year, but it's definitely going to be a competitive 2. It's going to be either stay in the 3rd slot or be a competitive 2nd slot. The thing is, you won't see it grow at all on Twitch. Twitch is having an issue growing mobile game viewership. So as mobile gaming viewership continues to increase, and it will across the internet internationally, so worldwide, mobile game viewership is increasing. That is primarily increasing with this game, PUBG Mobile. And we're going to see it grow on Facebook gaming, and we're going to see it grow even more primarily on YouTube. We're going to see the non-live viewership growth there continue, and the live viewership growth there continue as well. That will make it number 2 or number 3 within the next year, but not number 1 so far. That's my prediction.
Perfect. And we're seeing a commenter here, Nate Robbins,
Love Nate,
coining the phrase the mobile gaming evolution. I mean, sure, you call it a revolution, call it an evolution. I'm sorry, PC and console gamers, but this is probably the last generation where PC and console will be the dominant force in content creation and in live streaming. The next generation mobile games will be number 1. Most of the top games will be mobile. But what is that? So then PUBG Mobile, do we feel that PUBG Mobile is a viable game to cover as a content creator? And if so, in what capacity? Perrin, let's start with the streaming capacity. How do you feel the viability of it from a streaming capacity?
I think there's a lot there. I think it's one of the top games. If you're going to explore Facebook gaming, it's definitely one, especially if you like first-person shooters, it's definitely one that you should consider. It checks off everything on the list. It's a mobile game. It's a shooter, which they tend to be the most popular games to be streamed. I mean, look how many shooters are on this list, the top 10 list, period. Valorant, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, CSGO, Garena Free Fire. Grand Theft Auto, I think you can kind of can assume it's a shooter. PUBG Mobile.
Open world, yeah.
And Fortnite. So almost all those have they're not necessarily all true shooters, but they all have FPS elements to it. Almost all of them except for 8 of the 10 do. So it checks off everything on the list for Facebook gaming, and there's such good viewership there, and it's not oversaturated with too many content creators yet. It's getting there very rapidly though. So it's certainly one that if you're new to Facebook gaming, you're looking at a strategy, it almost certainly bears you to test it at least once or twice to see if it's viable for you. It's going to continue to grow in 2021 on that platform. You also want to check it out on YouTube as well. The question mark is Twitch. What do you do with it on Twitch? And I want to see if I can pull it up here while we're talking about it. But it has not really, you don't even see a color for it on this chart. It's just not there, because Twitch is really more of a platform for PC gamers, and you're not really seeing mobile gaming increase. If you look just today, I'll zoom in on this. You can see the viability here. We can do our little Twitch test here. 1.6K viewers out of 5.5 million followers. The top here has 702. So you want to do the test. What does it take to be in the top 10 of the Twitch list? And you would need at least like 30 concurrent viewers or higher. It's actually pretty good. This is actually pretty good for streaming on Twitch to grow. This isn't good for like getting huge on Twitch. It's good for good, consistent daily growth. So because PUBG Mobile is actually really tiny on Twitch, this is a long way for me to say that it's actually really viable to stream on Twitch, because as a new to medium-sized creator, because it's so tiny and not big, that's a good place for you to have less competition, less saturation, and higher demand for you as a content creator. All you would need is a regular of 30 concurrent viewers or higher, at least according to today's data, to stand out here and get some new followers coming into your stream regularly.
Oh my God, are you ready for a wild prediction from me, AWOL? It just hit me what's going to happen with all these trends, and we haven't said this before. So this is going to be one of the craziest predictions. People are going to think I'm insane. Maybe you guys will disagree with me. But pulling up this chart, we've been talking about how mobile gaming and international audiences are happening. We all know that those types of games are moving up the list. What just hit me is PUBG Mobile becoming the #3 streamed game on here with no viewership on Twitch. And if we look at the other mobile game on here, Garena Free Fire, that game has virtually no viewership on Twitch as well, just a teeny sliver. So it just dawned on me. Twitch is done. Twitch can't capture mobile viewership. Twitch can't capitalize on mobile games. And so as we move forward and mobile games become more and more of the industry, by the year 2023, 2024, Twitch will become more and more a niche platform. As mobile games rise, YouTube gaming and Facebook gaming will be growing with the rise of mobile games, and Twitch will be unable to benefit from that because its core North American audience is going to be stuck with PC and console. They're going to be guys like us that are like, I'm not getting into mobile games, whatever. I know we play mobile games, but they're going to be like, I'm not playing that crap. And then Twitch as a platform is not going to grow with the industry growing. Once mobile gaming once we have that tipping point where mobile games become the mainstream game. So my wild prediction right now, which my predictions like this, my macro predictions are almost always right. It's just my timeline might be wrong. By the year 2023 or 2024, I think it's very possible that YouTube gaming and Facebook gaming will eclipse Twitch as mobile gaming becomes more mainstream. And the way that this is going to happen is big AAA developers releasing big AAA mobile games like the Diablo mobile game, StarCraft mobile game, World of Warcraft mobile game, Ubisoft has some big ones coming out, etc. Once these big AAA mobile games start dropping in 2022, 2023, 2024, they will become the top streaming games and the top games for creators globally, internationally, and Twitch will become less and less relevant as a result because its core audience is not interested in the future of content creation. They're only interested in PC and console, which is not the future. That's my prediction. Do you guys agree or disagree with that trend? I'm just not seeing Twitch benefiting from the growth of mobile games. I think these international audiences would rather be on Facebook and YouTube. That's the evidence that we're seeing today. What do you think, Ross?
That's a bold statement, Cotton. Let's see if that pays off. I don't know. I mean, based on the trends and everything, the way everything is moving now, it certainly feels that way. However, I think Twitch is too big of an animal, especially by 2023, 2024. I think it's going to take a lot of evolution from mobile gaming, even from the standpoint it is right now, to get it to the point where Twitch is no longer relevant. Perrin?
I'm not saying no longer relevant. I'm just saying the other platforms will be more relevant and bigger. Twitch will still be around, but the other platforms will be potentially bigger as mobile gaming rises. The timeline there is questionable. Look, this could be a wild prediction that's wrong. What do you think, Perrin?
It's a tough one. That is a bold prediction. I think we should be careful on underestimating Twitch's ability to absorb viewership. You know, in yesterday's episode, we really looked at over the year as a whole how Twitch was able to just take all of the live viewership growth and just gobble it all up. When Mixer died, it ate all of it. I think one of the things you'll see that will happen, and I see this happen with my own streaming because I'm multi-streaming, and I see brand new live stream viewers, for the first time they're watching gaming live streaming, they're getting introduced to it through Facebook gaming because they're watching it on their mobile phone. They're in an area that has less good broadband connections, and Facebook gave them the most accessible live streaming, gaming live streaming platform accessible to the area. But once they get their palate wet, so to speak, they then move to other places and they start to look at Twitch, which they've never heard of before. And I think in all of the live stream viewers kind of like storybook path, they do eventually stumble upon Twitch, even if it's not big for mobile games, because that is where some of the big creators and the gaming streaming trends occur. And that's where creators are inevitably leading new live stream viewers too, eventually. So I think you'll see Twitch gobble up a lot of this viewership, the new live stream viewers, and bring them into communities there. And so Facebook gaming will grow, YouTube will grow, but they still won't be able to outpass Twitch's ability to just absorb live stream viewers, even if they're only like PC and console.
Yeah, that's fair. I guess another aspect of this, and we should go down the list, is that I think Twitch will become increasingly less a gaming platform and more a general streaming platform, and it'll stay relevant that way through just chatting, podcasts, politics. Whereas the gaming, because you got to follow the money in the gaming industry, and the money's in mobile gaming, not these other games, right? And so Twitch is going to be becoming increasingly less a gaming platform and more a chatting platform, a talk show platform, and it'll kind of shift in that regard, in my opinion, as it's unable to capitalize on mobile games as quickly as YouTube and Facebook. Let's move on to the next game in the list.
GTA 5, no shocker here. It's been a top seller, a top 10 seller, I think, literally every month besides 2 since it released in 2013. This game has spread now over, this is going to be the 3rd generation of consoles that this game's on, and it's not going anywhere. Rumor is it's even getting a graphics upgrade to look more like Red Dead Redemption 2. They're going to have exclusive content for next gen. We're not going to see GTA 6 anytime soon, so you better get used to seeing GTA 5 on here. It's, actually looking at this right now, I get it. I'm surprised it's honestly not even a little bit higher. I'm surprised PUBG Mobile actually went ahead of it.
That's the power of Facebook gaming, I guess. Yeah. But Grand Theft Auto 5 always going to be on the list. Is it viable as a content creator? Perrin, what's your opinion?
Well, let's take a look at the numbers on search interest. So we're going to compare Grand Theft Auto to Garena Free Fire and Minecraft. Unfortunately, Minecraft is like making this really hard to look at anything. We'll get to Minecraft here in a second, so let's remove that for now and see what happens. Grand Theft Auto's search interest is just flatlined here. Even compared.
You got to type in GTA 5 as well. So you use just not that many people are searching Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah, let's see if there's any difference here at that search term. And actually, yeah, okay, so that's a good point. Yeah. If you look, it does actually have some growth. If we go from the beginning of the year to the end, there is a little bit of an upward tick, and you do have some nice like spikes here, which you want to see. These are like growth up period points. These mean that there's trends going on within this search interest growth, and you want to see that with your chart. So yeah, there's growth here, search interest wise. That means there's still, even in 2021, viability for search interest on Grand Theft Auto 5. However, you're going to have to do something really, really unique because there's so much content out there already, and so many of the creators are still covering this game, and it's quite saturated. But technically, there's still opportunities here on the YouTube side. It's also nice. I think this is one of the only titles, if we go back here, that is split kind of the most evenly between all 3 platforms, at least eyeballing it here. It's got pretty good viewership on Twitch. It's got a nice chunk of live viewership on YouTube and Facebook gaming. So if you're going from a restream or a multi-stream strategy, which we highly recommend all of you do that, this is a title that really is diverse through all of the platforms quite well. And so, it's something that you should definitely take a look at and see, is there a strategy you can execute here? Because there's core viewership growing on all of the platforms. That's what you want. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for growth on every place that you can get. There's clearly demand for content here and across all of the internet, even though the game's pretty old by now. And the developer continues to put new stuff into it and to add new content, and you've got modding. And you know how we've talked about modding being one of the items that can really keep a game trend like
relevant.
Relevant, and have some longevity for year after year after year. So whether or not Rockstar Games is going to do Grand Theft Auto 6, it almost doesn't really matter, because Grand Theft Auto 5 is still clearly good for viewership. And I'd say this is a green check mark for creators in 2021. What do you guys think?
Oh, I totally agree. 100%. It's 2 thumbs way, 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 way up for GTA 5. I'd say out of all the games on this list, GTA 5 is the game you can cover on YouTube and all platforms and potentially grow more so than any of these other games. I coached a creator who was wondering which game to cover. I ended up pushing them toward GTA 5, and now they're getting something like 5 to 8 million views per month on YouTube, covering GTA Online guides and how to get money fast and get apartments and stuff like that on YouTube. And they grew from like 25,000 to 400,000 subscribers in 2020, basically from scratch, covering GTA 5, a 7 or 8 year old game. So GTA 5, you can start from nothing today. And if you pick a niche for GTA 5 and you double down on it and you become the master of that niche, even like GTA list videos is one that hasn't been covered that much. Obviously, GTA 6 speculation and leaks is another thing that you could talk about, etc. There's so much meat on the bone here with this game that you can absolutely grow with it. And from a streaming standpoint, the only thing anybody's interested in right now is GTA Online, like racing and stunt races right now, which is small. Role-playing is still big for GTA 5 with streams, and then obviously modding is big for GTA 5 with streams. But as a YouTuber, there's a huge opportunity to grow. So this is a fantastic, I think you made a great point, Parent. It's a great re-streaming and multi-streaming game. And Ross, tell them what they've won.
You've won a free code to get 30% off your first month of Restream by clicking the link in the comment. Holy shit. Stop focusing. This is a good example, this chart, of why you should be focusing on all platforms. You see that on the Fortnite, that little tiny slab over to the far right? That's what Mixer used to be. And a lot of people were streaming exclusively to that, and it died. They took it out back behind the barn and shot it. Mixer is dead. If you're streaming exclusively, you're not giving yourself a chance to grow on other platforms. In the case where something like this does happen, or maybe you get banned, get all those DMCA strikes, you still got a reputation. You still got some growth on another platform. So check out Restream.io. We use it every day. We used it long before we started actually working with them directly. To answer a few questions and comments, people are saying they don't think GTA 6 is happening. It's 100% happening. You're probably going to get news. Some leaks are already starting to come out now, accurate leaks, I may add. You'll probably get news this year, but there's no rush to bring that out. They're not going to be, this could still be 4, 5, 6 years away, because they're still making a ton of money on GTA 5. And in the industry, money speaks. So moving down the list here, Garena Free Fire. It looks like this one actually has a tiny bit of Twitch traction compared to the other mobile games, which still isn't a lot. 1.19 billion hours watched. Is this surprising to you guys that it's actually a fairly bigger game on YouTube than what it is Facebook gaming?
Yes,
it's not surprising at all.
You're not surprised that it's bigger on YouTube? Please share your knowledge with us.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, we went through the entire 2020 What report from YouTube, from their head of gaming, and they showed how much growth Garena Free Fire had on that platform. It is literally detonating with growth. Like, I've never seen a game grow more on a platform. This amount that you see, this red bar right now, this is going to be massive within the next year. And this 1 billion number is going to be much higher, if not double, maybe even within the next year. If Garena Free Fire, like, it has a good shot on this list of being the #1 live stream viewed game. However, they were also incorporating, I believe, non-live viewership into that as well, which we would have to consider. So if we take a look at the search interest then on that one, comparative to, I guess, GTA 5, it hasn't really grown in the past 12 months. So we'd have to kind of compare like what we're seeing here, and maybe I
think if you type in the term Free Fire,
yeah, I think it's because I'm looking at Garena.
Type in the word Free Fire up top and watch what happens. Watch the magic.
Free Fire. Let's do one word.
Two separate words. Two separate words.
Okay, two separate. Let's see what happens.
A boom shakalaka.
There we go.
Look how tiny GTA is in comparison to Free Fire, and look how it trended up in 2020. Look at your teeny little arrow. Man, that's embarrassing. But
it got less thick. I don't know what happened.
I promise it's bigger than that. So look at how big this is compared to GTA 5. Like this game, Garena Free Fire, I mean, you want to talk about a top game for 2021? You look at the YouTube search interest. If you just went into any freaking niche on this game at all on YouTube, you could absolutely grow. So dissect one element of the game, become a master of that one element of the game. For Free Fire, maybe that's just covering the skins. Maybe that's just talking about the upcoming sales and what's happening in the store. Maybe it's just one specific mode in the game. Double down and become a master of one element of Free Fire and capitalize on this insane amount of search interest to this game. It dwarfs GTA 5, guys, one of the top games in the world. That teeny little red line down there is GTA 5. Do you see how much bigger Free Fire is than that? Do you see why my predictions, I'm going just ape when I'm talking about the freaking possibilities of mobile gaming? It is dwarfing the juggernauts of gaming today. Free Fire, to me, is an indication of the future trends where everybody in the entire world has phones, especially international markets, and Free Fire shows the explosive capabilities of these games to completely dominate platforms like YouTube. Ross, what are your thoughts on Free Fire as an indication of the explosive growth of future mobile titles as we move into 2021 and beyond?
Well, it's a huge sign. This is obviously the trend. We've been talking about this for the entire time we've ever been doing this podcast, about how mobile gaming is moving in the future for not only just regular gamers and players, but streamers as well. So if you're not paying attention to games like Garena Free Fire, you're really, really missing a huge opportunity. And we can sit there and talk about blue in the face, well, I don't like mobile games and stuff like that. Well, if you really be successful, you should probably learn to like them and maybe consider moving into the avenue of mobile gaming. Everything that they just said by pulling up the trends, looking at this chart, proves that that's the direction it's going. So maybe stop, take a listen, and figure out a way to, kind of exploit that going forward into the future, especially if you're on Facebook gaming, it looks like. Moving on, we got to move quick through the rest of these.
So
Minecraft,
that's a check mark. We think that game is good. All right, next game.
Yep, Minecraft, the last game above 1 billion hours watched in 2020. I don't think there's any surprise here. Maybe the only surprise is that it's actually lower.
As far as streaming is concerned, I guess it's surprised that it's lower. I mean, but you want to talk about growth opportunity on YouTube. I'd like to, obviously Mr. Beast Gaming is a channel that has been focusing on Minecraft heavily. There's a bunch of YouTubers that have now switched back over to Minecraft as a game that they're covering on their channel to grow their gaming channel out of nowhere, getting amazing views off of going after Minecraft. It's still the #1 game on YouTube by far. It dwarfs #2 by I think like 400% on YouTube in terms of the amount of viewership it has there. So because of the YouTube interest for this game, it's like this freaking massive sun with nuclear power in it that just generates interest all day long in Minecraft, which has kept it there for over 10 years, I think, at this point. I mean, Minecraft created and defined what gaming is on YouTube. And today, it still defines what gaming is on YouTube. And I think for the next 2, 3, 4 years, it will probably still be the #1 game on YouTube. And so because of that kind of power source, if you will, for the trend and it being interesting, it will still be a relevant streaming title, even though less relevant than these other games, and a relevant streaming title moving forward. Let's take a look at Google Trends here. What insights are you getting from this, Perrin? You got your X's and your checks over there still. I guess you're just keeping them. But
yeah,
what do you see
I can
here?
recheck them, but yeah, I mean, it's still growing. It's still growing, even so many years later. So Minecraft is the yellow line here you guys are looking at. From the beginning of this year to the end, I mean, it grew. It grew actually quite significantly to the point where it and Garena Free Fire are like competitive now as top YouTube search interest titles. I mean, having this steep of an incline of growth year over year too is huge. The fact that it has that much growth is this far into the game, like it's been out for how many years now, is actually insane. It's not going anywhere. We've gone over this concept before, but once you have kind of like that juggernaut #1 title, it's very, very hard to unseat it. And Minecraft year over year, especially on YouTube, proves it is king of YouTube search. It is king of YouTube viewership, and it has made many successful creators in the industry and will continue to do so year after year after year after year. For that reason, you can't deny its ability for you as a creator, and it's something that you should consider. It even is universal across all 3 platforms, although its Facebook gaming viewership is quite low, but maybe that could be an opportunity for you. And it has good Twitch viewership too. In fact, its live viewership is split almost completely evenly between Twitch and YouTube. I'd say it's a green check mark. I don't think you can deny the search interest power as a creator of that one.
So definitely a check mark there. So Minecraft is a check mark. Let's move on then. Do you agree Minecraft is a check mark, Ross, or do you hate it?
I hate it, but it's a check mark.
Perfect. It's a check mark. So PUBG Mobile, viable. Grand Theft Auto, viable. Garena Free Fire, viable. Minecraft, viable. CSGO. Is that a viable game for creators in 2021 and beyond? I mean, this game has been around for thousands of years. Since I was back in college, I was playing Counter-Strike. That was in the early 2000s. And this trend just won't go away. And notice all these 4 last games that we have here on this chart. You see how big those purple bars are for those games down at the bottom? These are very much Twitch-dominated games with Twitch live audiences, but not as much in terms of other platforms. And so they're depending entirely on this core PC audience for their viability in terms of streaming here at the bottom. So CSGO, is this game viable by the numbers, Perrin? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, let's take a look at the search interest here. Okay, so I have this combined with all the last 4 items. So we're actually looking at CSGO, Call of Duty, which I should probably change that to COD, MW, Valorant, and Dota 2. And if we look at all of them, CSGO here, the blue line, it's been relatively flat. It's been relatively consistent year over year. Actually, there's a little bit of a decline, very, very small amount. But comparative to these other titles, these bottom 4, it's doing okay. There's still consistent search interest. It's just not growing year over year. So with this, I would assume, and this makes sense with the CSGO community, there's a thriving community there. It's just there's a very active community. I probably shouldn't say thriving. There's an active community, but it's not really growing in terms of search interest, and it's probably not really growing in terms of live viewership. And I don't really see how that would change in the next couple of years. I mean, you have CSGO esports, which I think spikes up the viewership for live. And if you're not a competitive player for CSGO, I don't think there's any point in diving into it. I don't see the growth opportunity year after year, and the chances of you being like pro level skill at it, I mean, I think it's rare. I don't think that's something you should really rely on for your growth there. So for me, I don't think it's a title for 2021 to cover. I just don't see where the growth opportunity is for it.
I agree. That's an X from me. Ross, what are your thoughts on CSGO?
Yeah, it's an X.
Put an X next to it. Moving on to the next title, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, looking similar with a big old purple bar there. I mean, it's obviously the popular, console PC version of Call of Duty of this year, basically. So what are our thoughts on being that? Let's just take Call of Duty out of the box of this particular game and just call this like whatever the popular Call of Duty PC or console game is, right? Like, let's just call it that, right? Because that's what happens with this trend. Do we feel like Modern Warfare or just Call of Duty in general as a franchise, just hopping from Call of Duty to Call of Duty PC and console version is something that is viable moving forward? Perrin, by the numbers, what do you see here, buddy?
So I just changed to just general Call of Duty on here, and it's a bit eye-opening. You see, if you just go by a general trend, there is a marginal amount of growth. Not really much I would consider to be that great, but what you do see is lots of trending spikes, and you're always going to see trending spikes within this one because Call of Duty is never going to go away. We're never going to get rid of Call of Duty, and there's always going to be new trending titles to cover with it. It's something that is going to last for more and more and more years. And while the general trend over time is relatively flat, you've got lots of spikes that you can take advantage of because they're good at marketing, and there's going to be lots of opportunities as a creator to kind of leverage those marketing events for your own benefit. So for that reason, from a search interest perspective, I think it's viable sometimes to cover. However, Call of Duty's competitiveness in general, I didn't actually mean to change that. Call of Duty's competitiveness in general, I think, and its saturation of creators makes it, for me, not one to cover. I don't like relying on these spikes of interest and having down periods. I want to see, for me as a creator, consistent year-over-year growth of new viewers, of new audience that I can garner. I don't want to rely on these pinnacle trending events and having to plan specifically around them. That makes all creators having to do the same thing. It's going to be harder to stand out. So long story short, for me, Call of Duty looks like it'd be viable, but it would be so hard to stand out that I don't think it's viable for me in 2021.
Yeah, my major issue with Call of Duty is like what you're saying, but Call of Duty is a primarily domestic franchise, as in English-speaking audiences, US, Canada, Australia, UK. And also, you're looking at an aging audience. You're looking at 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds that play the game. And it's just, in the midterm and long term, it's going to have an audience, but that audience is going to be dwindling. And the viability of that franchise on PC and console will decrease over the next 5 to 10 years. So you're kind of on, if you're riding that Call of Duty PC and console train, just know that you're on a train that is going to just slowly over time go down, down, down. It'll still be big, but it'll just keep going down, down, down as those audiences age, as they get less interested in playing video games, as they get less interested in watching content on the internet, as they have kids, family, get older, and also as the industry becomes increasingly mobile. And so I think that the PC and console versions of Call of Duty are on the way out, but long term. Not this next year, but long term. So for me, I'd put an X next to the PC and console versions of Call of Duty. It's oversaturated. There's tons of established creators there that are way better than you, that have 10 years of experience with the franchise. And as a new creator, it will be insanely difficult to break through with these titles. Ross, what's your opinion?
Yeah, I agree. I think what you just said is actually perfect. It's oversaturated. You got to remember that with Call of Duty. It's obviously the easy go-to title, but oversaturation doesn't leave room for a lot of growth.
Next one, Valorant.
Look at it on Twitch real quick. So Valorant is almost entirely Twitch. There's like a tiny little bar of YouTube, and there's a little Mixer bar in there. It's cute. It's almost non-existent.
Mixer. Aww.
And so what's Valorant got going on for it trend wise? Let's see. We didn't see a bunch of a YouTube bar there. Valorant's red on this chart. Interestingly, it's one that there's actually a nice spike of growth. We're literally going from like flat to
It's the only new game. It's the only new game on this entire top 10 list.
Yeah, it has the steepest incline out of all of the ones we've looked at from a year-over-year perspective. And for that reason, it definitely has some viability. Also, Valorant definitely has some huge opportunity as an esport. So I think we'll continue to see it thrive on Twitch as a platform. I think we will, if that happens, you will inevitably start to see this YouTube expand. We just saw the search interest growing, so I would expect this red portion to grow. I don't really see how it's going to make it to Facebook gaming yet. We have yet to see. The game is so new still, but yeah, like you said, it's the newest item. It's the only new one on this list. I think it's going to stay on the list for 2021. I think because it's so new and there is rising search interest, it's undeniable that there's opportunity here as a creator for you to get onto this title early before it potentially becomes a huge mega esport. Curate this trend, pre-plan this trend like we've talked about in previous episodes in advance before it potentially blows up. This is one of those ones that can become a landmine that you can just grow exponentially off of, if and when it becomes a major esport and it gets more and more viewership. So for this one, for me, it's a green check mark because of that.
It's definitely a green check fart. It's definitely a green check fart for me as well. And it was one of the top new games on my new games one I did on the AWOL digital podcast as well. Valorant's a huge check mark. For those of you that jump on early, here's your strategy. Just based on the numbers that you just saw, the facts we just presented, you make a YouTube channel going niche on this game, teaching primarily beginner players and new players and people that suck at shooters how to get better at this game, the tips and tricks they can learn, the strategies they can learn. Even if your aim is terrible, how can you be at least decent in a really hardcore competitive shooter like this? Then drive that viewership over to Twitch to take advantage of that live viewership, that big purple bar there. So this trend is absolutely a YouTube channel to Twitch strategy where you're running the YouTube channel with 80% of your time and 20% of your time you're streaming on Twitch, and that could be really viable. I imagine that Valorant will actually move up the list as we move into 2021, maybe into that number 6 or 7 spot. I think this game, by the numbers, has a very bright future, and esports obviously will drive up that purple bar for this game for live viewership. Last game here, Dota 2, Andrew Perrin. I know you were a hardcore Dota 2 player there for a long time. This has been one of these hardcore trends, big PC audience for this game. It just has stuck around for a bit. It's, other than League of Legends, it's been the number 2 MOBA now for like 5+ years. Heroes of the Storm tried to dethrone it, didn't work. Dota 2's just got this hardcore community. The international is relevant every year. Dota 2, what's the viability there, buddy?
You know, it's hanging tight at that number 10 spot, and I don't know how well it's going to be able to hang on to it. I mean, we've seen Dota 2 last year, every year, but it's never been like a top game. It's always going to be, you know, not as strong as League of Legends, even from an esports capacity. But it really isn't denying their ability to put on a really nice esports show, which is where they get most of their viewership from. I don't see where there's growth here, though. You know, if we go over to, I think I've Dota 2 on here. Yeah. It's a flat line.
Lines.
I imagine if you were to go 3, 4, 5 years back on this chart, you would see the same flat line. I don't think there's not really going to be anything new and exciting happening with Dota 2, and there's not going to be anything that's going to make it really go up this list. So basically, it's just prey for any new trend to come in and unseat it. And I don't think you're going to see it on this list next year. I honestly don't. And that'll make me sad. I love watching Dota 2 esports every year. I love watching the international. I still will, but it as a viewership, I've been watching some of the major, you know, esports circuits decline in viewership over time. Every year I watch, it's just less viewers. So for this reason, it's a big fat X. I don't see, there's nothing new here. There's no search interest. There's literally there's no redeeming qualities here for a content creator to go into Dota 2. And for that reason, I can't recommend it for a new or medium-sized creator.
Ross, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, as a staple esport, as an aging esport, what do you think about Dota 2?
Another keyword you just said was aging. You know, maybe a couple of years ago, yes. Now I tend to agree with Perrin. And it also makes it look nice that we kind of evened it out there. 5 yes, 5 no's on this entire chart. That's really nice.
Well, review this for us, Ross, and then we have to answer the question of the episode. My God, is this a long one? Almost 50 minutes already.
It's okay.
Let's go over our yes games and our no games for audiences and then move on to that question.
All right, let's start with the yeses. PUBG Mobile, GTA 5, Garena Free Fire, Minecraft, and Valorant. On the no's.
And then the no games.
Yeah. League of Legends, Fortnite. Sorry, I got to pull up this list on a different screen.
CSGO, Call of Duty,
you.
Modern Warfare, and Dota 2. And so if you notice the trend with a lot of our yes games here, guys, we're saying yes to these mobile games. We're saying yes to Grand Theft Auto and Minecraft and Valorant because of the YouTube viability of those games, in addition to the streaming viability. So you guys see the trend there? You can use the YouTube search for these games to grow your stream. And also, we like games that are in mobile space because that space is going to be growing. And we also like games like Grand Theft Auto 5 that are viable across multiple platforms. If we were to choose one game out of this entire list and say that is the best game out of the popular games from 2020 to cover in 2021, what would that top game be, Andrew Perrin?
I would go with Garena Free Fire, knowing because of its YouTube explosive growth. I think if you're going to do the tried and true strategy of YouTube search interest over to live viewership, you know, it's diversified across all 3 platforms. It's mobile. It's exploding on growth on YouTube gaming. Like it's a recipe for massive success that, like, if you avoid it, I think you are really writing off like one of the biggest potential creator making trends for 2021. I think Garena Free Fire is the one to eye up, and every creator who's wanting to get into this needs to look at that one carefully and really consider going for that one.
Ross, top pick.
I'm actually going to go Grand Theft Auto just because I think there's going to be so much new content coming out, and there's going to be so many graphic upgrades. There's just so much you can do with that game, especially if you're wanting to start like a YouTube channel and find that to cover that game. Yeah, I'm going to go with GTA just because I think it's unlimited now, and it's only going to get more unlimited in the future, if that even makes any sense.
I agree. I think GTA is strong. Free Fire's hot.
Yeah.
But Free Fire is just one game. GTA is a proven franchise that has a 5, 10, maybe 15-year future. And the restreaming possibilities with GTA as well are also super interesting. Being able to grow across multiple platforms is something I like. I just think by the books and by the numbers, GTA is the most viable game from 2020 to do in 2021. Definitely number 2 is Free Fire. I mean, you can't not ignore the explosive growth of mobile games and that one in particular, so I agree. But I don't think it's number 1. I still think GTA is a better pick moving forward because we don't know if Free Fire 2 is going to be viable or if that is a franchise is going to be a thing moving forward. Regardless, question of the episode, Ross, hit us with it.
We do. This is actually from about a week and a half ago. Serious question from Dark Mobile Gaming, and he hopes we see this. We did. What do I do if a random viewer decides to start viewbotting my active live stream? Last night, I had someone tell me they love my channel and, quote, here comes a few hundred viewers. I am a hacker, end of quote. I hid that viewer from my channel. There was no ban option from the live chat midstream, but I still had my concurrent views fluctuate between 200 and 400 for the rest of the stream. I only truly had 10 to 15 based on chat. How do I fix this? What would you suggest?
Wow, this is a crazy problem. Somebody trying to help his stream, but then breaking the terms of service. Dark Mobile Gaming, thank you for your question. By the way, we're going to be answering a question from you guys every episode, so be sure to hit us up on Twitter and YouTube with your questions. Perrin, what are your thoughts on this? Like somebody trying to help you, but might actually be killing you. It's almost like a bad, toxic family member or something here. What the hell should you do about this?
Yeah, so you know, if this were me, I would ask them verbally on my stream to, hey, don't want you to do that. Please do not viewbot my stream. Make sure you vocalize that. Make sure you get your mods to let them know that too. I wouldn't ban them. I would just kindly say that you don't want that, and maybe offer up a reason as to why. Say you want to grow organically. You don't really want the boost of bots on your stream. You want to do this organically or something like that, and see if they stop. If you can get them nicely to stop, that's the best case scenario. Otherwise, if you ask them and they keep doing it, just ignore them for a little bit. See if they stop after a while. Don't acknowledge them. If they don't feel like they're getting kind of what they're looking for by helping you, which they probably kind of want some sort of acknowledgement in return. If you just ignore them and forget about it, they will likely go away. If that still does not happen and they still won't go away, and you're ignoring them and they're still there, I would still just ignore them. I would just ignore them because eventually they're not gonna come back. If you never talk to them or engage with them and they don't get anything out of you by doing this, they will eventually leave. What do you, am I on there somewhere? Do you have a total different take, guys, on that one?
Ross?
Yeah, I think you kind of nailed it on the head there. Especially saying if you, just on the off chance or something that Facebook gaming or whatever you're streaming on would come back and kind of point to this and say you did something wrong, having the verbal interaction.
Exactly.
Video of you saying, oh, you know, let's not do this, guys. That really bodes well in your favor. So yeah, I agree with what you said.
I would definitely take screenshots of this guy saying he was going to bot you in chat. Make sure you have that on your Google Drive. So if you do get your channel banned or what have you, or get suspended for something, you can share that evidence. You can't just say, yo, trust me, there's this stream, if you let me link to it, but my channel's banned, so I can't link to it. You need to have evidence that is like on your drive that you can show to send to moderators in the future, because if you get banned or if your channel gets deleted, you can't link to any of your content to prove your case, and your channel could be gone indefinitely. So get those screenshots, go to their profile, take a screenshot of their profile, screenshot any interactions, and even take a clip of you saying and put that on your Google Drive or even a Dropbox of you actually saying to them, please don't bot my stream. That's a very clear case. And then you should be able to refute this if you end up getting banned. Ross, take us out of here. Jesus, this might be the longest episode Digital Drop we've done in a long time. Even saying the name of Jesus here, that's how long it was.
Yep, summon the Holy Christ to end this episode. Amen, Mr. AWOL. Make sure you pay attention to what we're talking about here, about what games work on what streaming platforms. That's a lesson you can take away from today. As you saw today, mobile gaming does not actually seem to be evolving that much on Twitch. That's a note to take away if you're wanting to do it, but at the same time, still restream. You want to be able to restream. Make sure you're growing on every platform. Have a good day. We'll see you tomorrow.